It was a regular Tuesday morning in downtown Seattle, and my tiny office above the old Bookman's Cafe smelled like burnt coffee and printer toner. I had just finished dealing with a backlogged spreadsheet when the bell above the entrance door chimed. I looked up, and there he was, drenched from the rain, his dark jacket clinging to him like he had run through a storm rather than walked. I didn't know it yet, but in that moment, my entire routine, my schedule, my control, my expectations were about to be completely unraveled. His name was Caleb Hart, and he wasn't a client, not at first. "Hi, I'm looking for Monica?" he asked, brushing his wet hair back. "That's me," I replied, standing a little straighter, half nervous from his presence. He looked familiar, like someone I should know, but couldn't place. I'm Daniel Hart's brother." Silence. Just that name was enough to suck the air out of the room. Daniel had been my former business partner, a genius designer, unreliable as a clock without batteries, and someone who disappeared without warning 3 years ago, right before our startup pitch to a major investor. And just like that, I was left to salvage the company on my own. "I didn't know he had a brother," I said cautiously. Caleb chuckled softly. "I didn't know he had a business partner until last month." He looked around the office, taking in the worn carpet, the overwatered fern, the chaotic energy of someone just barely holding it all together. "I'm not here to cause any problems," he said quickly. "I just found some things of his, sketches, notes, even some emails to you he never sent." My hands tightened around the edge of my desk. "And why are you bringing them to me now?" I asked. He hesitated. "Because he passed away. Last year. Car accident. In Nevada." That's when I lost all control. Not in the way the movies portray, with sobbing or screaming, but in the quiet collapse of my shoulders. The flood of memories, the unanswered emails, the nights I spent blaming him for everything that went wrong with my business. And now he was gone. Just like that. And standing in front of me was his brother, offering the past I thought I had buried. Caleb pulled a weathered sketchbook from his backpack and placed it on the desk. "I thought you might want this. He talked a lot about your work, about how he left too much unfinished." For the next 3 hours, we sat in my cramped office, flipping through pages of designs, handwritten notes, and half-started emails he never had the courage to send. Each page was a mix of brilliance and regret. "He wanted to come back," Caleb said softly, "but he thought you'd never forgive him." "I wouldn't have," I admitted. "Not then. Maybe not even now." "But?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. I sighed. "But I needed closure." That was the beginning of something unexpected. Caleb didn't just drop off the sketchbook and vanish. He returned the next day with coffee and curiosity. And again, the day after that. He didn't try to fill his brother's shoes or fix anything. He just asked questions about the company, about me, about what could have been. And slowly, I started to talk. We talked about startups and second chances, about the burden of unfinished business. He offered to help, not with money, not with tech, but with insight. Caleb worked in nonprofit development and understood impact in a way I never had. With his encouragement, we reworked the startup's mission. Instead of just being another freelance designer network, we shifted toward something more purpose-driven, connecting underrepresented artists to opportunities they wouldn't have access to otherwise. It wasn't just a pivot. It was a revival. The office got a fresh coat of paint. New interns came in. Clients returned. We renamed the company Root Frame in memory of the foundational sketches Daniel left behind. And somewhere between that first coffee and the fifth grant application, I realized something else. I had forgiven Daniel. I had also changed. I wasn't the same Monica who used to whiteboard success metrics until midnight or who measured self-worth by pitch decks. I learned to ask for help, to let others in, and Caleb, in his patient, non-intrusive way, became a constant in my unpredictable world. 6 months after that rainy morning, Caleb and I stood together at the grand opening of Root Frame's new gallery space in Seattle's Arts District. "It's funny," he said, looking around at the crowd of young designers. "Daniel always said you had the guts to do what he couldn't." I smiled. He was half right. And then, softly, he gave me the blueprint. I just didn't know how much I needed it, or him, or you. Caleb squeezed my hand, just briefly. Nothing romantic, nothing dramatic, just connection, real, unfiltered, and steady. We never spoke about love. This wasn't that kind of story. This was about rebuilding, about making peace with ghosts, about starting again with the pieces someone else left behind.